Yes, sir. We are live.
We, now we can go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rabiji, please.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Today happens to be a very, very interesting and important day where we are going to announce the Diversity and Inclusion Excellence Awards in Conclave by ASSOCHAM. And this is very, very auspicious day also because of many, many reasons, which we're discussing, as we are moving into a new phase, this is a new era where we are moving towards getting the vaccinations done, most probably in the coming months. A lot of new things are happening in India. Environment is very charged, very positively. Budget is being spoken about. Companies, new regulations have come on the CSR. And with this, I would love to request Mr. Vineet Agrawal, who is President ASSOCHAM and Managing Director, Transport Corporation of India Limited, to give his welcome address for the first session, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raviji. It's my honor to welcome Shri Honorable Shri Ratan Lal Kataria Ji, Minister of State, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and Ministry of Jal Shakti. Shri Ashish Srivastava Ji, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Women and Child Development. Shri Ravi Bhatnagar Ji, Shri Anil Rajput, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very important subject that we are discussing, diversity and inclusion. They both go together. And inclusion helps us to foresee changes, transform our organizations, and eventually boost growth and sustainable development to build tomorrow's business and a progressive society and a prosperous nation. COVID-19 has had a major impact on socio-economic areas and has created a lot of challenges and uncertainties. As responsible business houses, groups, organizations, and entities, our vision is to combine the passion and commitment of our people, including leadership and partners in this new social order. The pandemic has hit many people, like working women, persons with disabilities, very hard. It has been reported that even 8 months after the lockdown was imposed, 13% of fewer women than a year ago were employed at looking for jobs, compared to 2% fewer men, with urban women recording the deepest job losses. Worldwide, many of these marginalized communities are a large untapped pool of talent, as their participation in the workforce is disproportionately low. The coming times are very crucial to create the right action to strengthen the business through diversity and inclusion. These policies ensure the better management and development and retaining of key talent, pushing innovation and above all, very good business growth. India has a robust constitution and several anti-discrimination statutes that guarantee equality and prohibit discrimination on various grounds. A wide range of policies are aimed at women, persons with disabilities, the LGBT community, and other marginalized groups to ensure that the boundaries of equality and inclusion is maintained in the workplace. For example, the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016 is one of those finest examples of legislation that provides for welfare measures and positive duties and obligations for the overall development of persons with disabilities and their full participation in all aspects of life. Sir, here I would like to add that our organization is also working very closely. We have established the Artificial Limb Center, Jaipur Foot, in places like Patna and other places, so that people, and free of cost, so that people can get that benefit. However, a lot needs to be done, and industries need to join hands with government and create programs, for example, skilling programs for people to succeed in this group. Together, we can nurture and build new skills to bring in employment gaps, to bridge the employment gaps, and advance client sustainability, accelerating equality in the workplace. As COVID-19 reshapes our business, it's time for leaders to reinforce inclusiveness and embrace differences more widely. On behalf of ASSOCHAM, I assure you that all our esteemed members will leave no stone unturned and generously open their hearts for providing equal employment opportunity, and other policy interventions to promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace, in both letter and spirit. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming and joining us today and honoring us with your presence.
Thank you so much, Vinitji. Now we move to the next agenda on opening remarks and brief of the awards. I would love to request Mr. Anil Rajputji, who is Chairperson, SOCHAM CSR Council and Senior Vice President Corporate Affairs at ITC Limited. For those who don't know about the ITC, like during this COVID days, it was Savlon, which protected all of us to a very, very large extent. So, heartily welcome Mr. Anil Rajputji for giving your opening remarks and briefing about the awards.
Thank you very much, Ravi. Shri Ratanlal Kataria ji, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, Shri Ashish Srivastava ji, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India, Shri Vineet Agarwal ji, President, SOCHAM, distinguished guests and friends. Good morning to all of you. And today happens to be Chinese New Year also. So it's another world where, you know, it's an auspicious day, as somebody mentioned. So auspicious for another part of the world also. I must compliment the President of SOCHAM for setting the tone for the awards. Diversity and inclusion is close to my heart. They imbibe the makeup of our nation. That of unity and diversity. This is our strength. This makes us different and allows us of having people with different color, caste, gender, religion, and their perspectives to contribute to the nation building and overall success of India. I firmly believe that corporates need to focus on this critical parameter and imbibe the characteristics of diversity and inclusion in their organizations, in the letter and in spirit. When organizations make efforts and emphasize on diversity and inclusion, the results are pure magic. It turns weakness into strength, brings the variety of different perspectives to the table, increases creativity, improves employee engagement, reduces employee turnover, improves hiring results. And all this adds up to increased profits for such companies. While we have come a long way, I must emphasize that we have a long way to go. I'm pleased to share that we received more than 80 nominations in different categories from organizations and multinational companies of all sizes for this second SOCHAM Diversity and Inclusion Excellence Awards. And despite the tough and challenging times of COVID-19. There were 3 categories of awards: the Best Employer for D&I Policies, Best Employer for PWDs, and Best Employer for Women. All the 3 categories were divided as per the number of employees working in the companies. There was a small category of 250 to 1,000 employees, medium category of 1,001 to 5,000 employees, and the large category of 5,001 employees and above. The jury fixed parameters like percentage of women employed, PWDs, LGBTQ, and other marginalized groups, percentage in higher ranks of top management in companies, maternity leaves, paternity leaves, pick-up and drop facilities, security, skill training programs, equal opportunity policies, equal wages, POSH training programs, hygiene facilities, flexible working hours, initiative during COVID-19, so on and so forth. The jury held 4 rounds of meetings and held in-depth evaluations. I'm sure that the jury members who would agree with me that arriving at a decision to choose the winner was extremely difficult. I would also like to extend my heartiest compliments to all the participating organizations which have followed and implemented these important parameters. Having said this, we have few observations. A concerted effort is needed by the organizations to ensure women participation across different levels. In addition, we were surprised to learn that corporations are very less active in providing employment to persons with disabilities. The number stands at a dismal 1%. There are a host of other issues which, for the sake of brevity, I will skip. Let us say that half well begun is half done. And I'm sure there is earnestness and determination on the part of corporates to achieve a lot more on the aspects of diversity and inclusion. And I would like to assure Honorable Minister that SOCHAM will do everything possible going forward to work shoulder to shoulder with your ministry in doing the utmost for the benefit of all those people who require inclusion in our society. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anilji, for setting the tone for the day. And it's been very inspiring to see the journey of small corporates, big corporates, MNCs in India, and a lot of effort which has been put by the respected jury to shortlist and to finalize. There were a lot of debates, a lot of discussions on who should be awarded, what are the minimum benchmarks, and how we up our game totally, and we show to the world outside India, like how we are strengthening our systems in India in terms of diversity and inclusion. One example I must share with with everyone is how transgenders are actually managing one of the metro stations in Noida that India has witnessed very recently, and that too happened in this government. Government has given the opportunity to do that. Second big landmark happened last year when the last year when the Allahabad Kumbh happened. It was a formation of the Kinnar Akhada, the transgender Akhada, by with the Juna Akhada. So a lot of new things are happening in the diversity inclusion space. Socially, there's more acceptance. People are moving towards it, and government is very firm on supporting the agenda of diversity and inclusion. Going forward, we'll be sharing. So we have six speakers. They will be sharing their stories. I'm stories who are the award winners. It starts with Ms. Vimi Gujral, Head HR and Admin, Modi Care Limited. She's the winner for the Best Employer for Policies on Diversity and Inclusion in Small Category. Number 2, Mr. Vinayak Yadav. He's a business HR partner, Every Denison India Private Limited. He's a winner for the Best Employer for the PWD in the Small Category. Number 3, President HR, Agelman India Private Limited, winner for the Best Employer for the Women in Small Category. Number 4, Ms. Tina Vinod, Head of Diversity, Equity and Inclusion and Social Change, Thought. The winner in both categories, Best Employer for Policies on D&I and Women in the Medium Category. Next is Mr. Aji George, Head Organizational Capacity Wipro Limited, winner in the Best Employer for the PWDs, and second runner-up in D&I Large Category. Last but not the least, Ms. Gayatri Ramamurthy, Senior Director Lead, Diversity and Inclusion and Learning at Cape Gemini, India. So they're the winners in both categories. Best Employer for the Policies on D&I and Women, and second runner-up in the PW in the Large Category. I would request all these winners to speak for a minute and share
Ravi
their
ji,
perspective.
Ravi ji, just a minute. Please, Yogesh, please on slide. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So JSW Shakti Foundation is second runner-up in best amplifier D&I category. Next, as the Unifor Software System Private Limited is first runner-up in best amplifier D&I in a small category. Modi Care Limited is winner as a best amplifier D&I in a small category. Next, please. Pissor India Services Private Limited first runner-up in best amplifier PWDs in small category. Avid Dennison India Private Limited is a winner in best amplifier PWD in small category. Kirloskar Brothers Limited is second runner-up in best amplifier women in small category. Now is Amway India Enterprise Private Limited first runner-up in best amplifier women in small category. Now is the winner as Edelman India Private Limited in best amplifier women in small category. Sony Picture Network Private Limited is second runner-up in best amplifier D&I in medium category. Comeba Technologies Limited is first runner-up and best amplifier D&I in medium category. ThoughtWorks Technology India Private Limited winner in best amplifier for D&I in medium category. Sony Pictures Network Private Limited is second runner-up in best amplifier for women in medium category. Crystal Limited is the first runner-up in best amplifier for women in medium category. Again, as a ThoughtWorks Technology India Private Limited, a winner in best amplifier for women in medium category. Now we come on the large category. So Wipro Limited is the second runner-up in best amplifier for D&I in large category. It's a Tech Mahindra Limited is the first runner-up in best amplifier in D&I category in large category. Now is a winner. It's a Capgemini Technology Services India Limited. It's a winner in best amplifier D&I in large category. Again, it's a Capgemini Technology Services India Limited is a second runner-up in best amplifier for PWDs in large category. It's a Minda Corporation Limited is a first runner-up in best amplifier for PWDs in large category. So, and winners Wipro Limited as in best amplifier for PWDs in large category. Mindtree Limited second runner-up in best amplifier for women in large category. So here's a tough competition. So we share the second runner-up in among two companies as a Standard Chartered India is second runner-up in best amplifier for women in large category. Teleperformance India is the first runner-up and best amplifier for women in large category. Now the winner in best amplifier for women large category, Capgemini Technology Services India Limited. Congratulations to all winners. I over to Mr. Ravi Vatnagar. Ravi ji, please.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
we
invite
will
to
give.
we invite
Yeah,
to finance for 1 minute.
yeah, we invite first
Acha.
Ms. Mimi Gujral to speak for a minute, please.
Ravi ji, sorry, BDC message from MO office. He need to go to parliament, other thing. So please, we will after speak invite to winners.
Okay, fine.
Please invite to MOS. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sandeep. So, would like to now invite Honorable Shri Ratan Lal Kataria ji, who is the Honorable Minister of State for Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment and Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India, to enlighten us with, with words of wisdom and show us the path for the future. Thank you so much.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
मान्यवर श्रीमान विनीत अग्रवाल जी, प्रेसिडेंट एसोचैम एंड मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर ट्रांसपोर्ट कॉरपोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया, श्री अनिल राजपूत जी, चेयरपर्सन एसोचैम CSR काउंसिल एंड सीनियर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट कॉर्पोरेट अफेयर्स ITC लिमिटेड, एसोचैम के अन्य अधिकारीगण, आज डाइवर्सिटी एंड इंक्लूजन एक्सीलेंस अवार्ड्स एंड कॉन्क्लेव के अवसर पर मैं आप सभी का अभिनंदन करता हूं और ये कहना चाहूंगा कि सामाजिक न्याय और अधिकारिता मंत्रालय ने कोविड-19 महामारी के दौरान पहले जैसे कि इलेक्ट्रॉनिकी एंड सूचना प्रौद्योगिकी मंत्रालय की मदद से दिव्यांग जनों के लिए आरोग्य सेतु ऐप की पहुंच को आसान बनाया, कोविड-19 क्वारंटीन सेंटर की दिव्यांग जनों की आवश्यकता के अनुसार सुलभ बनाया गया, निजी और सरकारी दोनों क्षेत्रों में रोजगार मजदूरी के लिए योजनाएं शुरू की गई और स्वरोजगार के अवसर उपलब्ध कराने हेतु NHFDC के माध्यम से दिव्यांग जनों को रियायती दरों पर ऋण सुविधा उपलब्ध कराई गई। मुझे यह बताते हुए गर्व महसूस हो रहा है कि सरकार ने अपनी पहली प्राथमिकता और प्रतिबद्धता समझते हुए महिलाओं, दिव्यांगजनों, ट्रांसजेंडरों और समाज के अन्य कमजोर वर्गों को शिक्षित करने, रोजगार देने और उन्हें सशक्त बनाने के लिए सक्रिय, समग्र और व्यापक पहलें की हैं, जैसे कि समान अवसर, अधिकारों का संरक्षण और पूर्ण भागीदारी अधिनियम 1995, कौशल और प्रशिक्षण विकास कार्यक्रम, मातृत्व विधेयक 2017, पौष अधिनियम और महिलाओं के लिए रोजगार कार्यक्रम, महिलाओं के सशक्तिकरण के लिए राष्ट्रीय मिशन, महिलाओं के समग्र विकास के लिए हिंसा से प्रभावित महिलाओं को एकीकृत सहायता प्रदान करने के लिए वन स्टॉप सेंटर जैसे नीतिगत हस्तक्षेप किए गए हैं। निश्चित रूप से इन पहलों से इनका जीवन स्तर बेहतर हुआ है। महिलाओं, दिव्यांगों, ट्रांसजेंडरों और अन्य कमजोर वर्ग के लोगों की आर्थिक स्वतंत्रता को मजबूत करने, उन्हें समान अवसर उपलब्ध कराने और रोजगार में उन्हें अपना प्रतिशत प्रतिनिधित्व और भागीदारी बढ़ाने के लिए सरकार पूरे जोश के साथ आगे बढ़ रही है, क्योंकि हमारा मुख्य उद्देश्य है कि ये लोग आर्थिक स्वतंत्रता के साथ गरिमामय जीवन का भरपूर आनंद ले पाएं और समाज में प्रभावी तथा बेहतर भूमिका निभा पाएं। इस दिशा में मंत्रालय का सुगम्य भारत अभियान के तहत दिव्यांगजनों के सशक्तिकरण विभाग का राष्ट्रव्यापी फ्लैगशिप अभियान चल रहा है, जिसका उद्देश्य पूरे देश में दिव्यांगजनों के लिए बाधा मुक्त और अनुकूल वातावरण बनाना है। दिव्यांगजनों के अधिकार कानून एक्ट 2016 के तहत दिव्यांगजनों को किसी भी किस्म के भेदभाव से संरक्षण प्राप्त करता है और किसी भी भेदभाव को निषेध करता है। विकलांगता कानून दिव्यांगजनों को विभिन्न प्रकार के भेदभावों से के उपायों को बढ़ाता है तथा अवसर की समानता और पर्याप्त पहुंच सुनिश्चित करता है। यहाँ मैं विकलांगता कानून के सबसे प्रमुख तत्वों में से एक का विशेष रूप से जिक्र करना चाहूंगा कि दिव्यांगजनों के लिए उनके अधिकारों की सुविधा प्रदान कराना पूर्ण रूप से सरकार का दायित्व है और मुझे यह बताते हुए बेहद खुशी हो रही है कि सरकार इसे पूरी जिम्मेवारी से निभा रही है। आरपीडब्ल्यूडी अधिनियम 2016 में रोजगार और शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में आरक्षण कोटा 3 से बढ़ाकर 4% करने का प्रावधान है। हालांकि कॉरपोरेट्स द्वारा इन दिशा निर्देशों के अनुपालन में सुधार करने की आवश्यकता है, क्योंकि अधिकांश कंपनियों में दिव्यांगजनों को केवल 1% रोजगार ही मुहैया हो पा रहा है। सरकार दिव्यांगजनों के लिए रोजगार अवसर को बढ़ावा देने के लिए निजी नियोक्ताओं को प्रोत्साहित करती है। इस योजना के तहत सरकार कर्मचारी भविष्य निधि और कर्मचारी राज्य बीमा में नियोक्ता के योगदान का भुगतान लाभ के रूप में करती है। इस कड़ी में एक अहम बात यह है कि ट्रांसजेंडर्स अक्सर अपनी लैंगिक पहचान से जुड़े सामाजिक कलंक के खिलाफ संघर्ष करते हैं। परिणाम स्वरूप इस समुदाय के लोग सामाजिक बहिष्कार का सामना करते हैं, जिससे वे समुचित विकास से वंचित होकर सामाजिक हाशिए पर रहने को मजबूर हो जाते हैं। हालांकि भारत में पिछले कुछ एक वर्षों में व्यक्तियों के अधिकारों की रक्षा के लिए महत्वपूर्ण प्रगति हुई है। ट्रांसजेंडर व्यक्ति अधिनियम 2019 उन्हें गरिमा जीवन की गारंटी के लिए समुचित दिशा निर्देश प्रदान करने तथा उनके समान उपचार की गारंटी देने की दिशा में एक महत्वपूर्ण और मील का पत्थर है। मैं यहाँ पर एसोचैम्प्स के सभी अधिकारियों से ये भी कहना चाहूंगा कि हमारा मंत्रालय नशा मुक्त भारत बनाने के लिए सारे देश के अंदर एक अभियान चला रहा है और 272 जिलों में हमने इस प्रकार के नशा मुक्ति केंद्र खोलने का भी निर्णय लिया है, जहां पर हम अपने देश की युवा पीढ़ी को इन बुराइयों से बचाकर राष्ट्र की मुख्य धारा में लाने का प्रयत्न करते हैं, ताकि वो सामाजिक और आर्थिक स्तर के ऊपर सबल बन सकें। मैं इस अवसर पर इंडस्ट्री लीडर्स को हार्दिक बधाई और दिल से शुभकामनाएं देता हूं कि एक और तो जो है भविष्य के लिए नए व्यवसाय अवसर का निर्माण कर रहे हैं और साथ ही साथ पूरी शिद्दत, जिम्मेवारी और प्रतिबद्धता के साथ अपने वर्तमान वर्किंग कल्चर में दिव्यांगजनों के हित में विविधता और समावेशी मूल्यों को आत्मसात भी कर रहे हैं, जो कि इस समुदाय के लोगों का सामाजिक अधिकार भी है। इस अवसर पर मैं उन संगठनों की सराहना करना चाहता हूं जो रोजगार के समान अवसर की सुविधा के लिए सराहनीय योगदान दे रहे हैं। हालांकि इस दिशा में खासकर दिव्यांगजन, महिला सशक्तिकरण, ट्रांसजेंडर के लिए गरिमामय जीवन सुनिश्चित करने की दिशा में उद्योग से और अधिक सहयोग की अपेक्षा करते हैं और मेरा मानना है कि अपेक्षा तो उन्हीं से की जाती है जो इसके सर्वथा योग्य होते हैं। इस दिशा में हम एसोचैम के साथ साझेदारी को इच्छुक हैं ताकि वे लोग लैंगिक विविधता, दिव्यांगजनों, HIV पॉजिटिव और ट्रांसजेंडर समुदाय के लिए समान अवसर उपलब्ध कराने की दिशा में एसोचैम सदस्यों और कॉरपोरेट्स को हमारी मदद करने के लिए तैयार कर सकें। हम चाहते हैं कि एसोचैम यह महती जिम्मेवारी निभाए कि उद्योग जगत समुचित सामाजिक न्याय को उसी स्पिरिट में अपने वर्किंग कल्चर में समाहित करे जैसा सरकार सोचती है। जय हिंद, भारत माता की जय। नमस्कार।
महोदय जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका, आपने हमें टाइम दिया और हम रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं आप हमारे साथ एटलीस्ट 10 मिनट और रहें, क्योंकि जो विनर्स हैं वो आपके सामने 1 मिनट बोलना चाहते हैं।
नहीं, मुझे लोकसभा जाना है।
सब 5 मिनट का रिक्वेस्ट है सर, 5 मिनट में हम फिर प्लीज सर। So, congratulations to all winners. Now I would like to invite a representative from each of the winning organization to share their views. So, considering the question of time, we request to please finish within 1 minute because Honorable Minister need to go to Parliament. Please. So, I invite to Ms. Bimi Gujral, Head HR and Admin Modi Care Limited, winner for Best Employer for Policy on D&I in small category. Ms. Bimi Gujral, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank the SOCHM Awards Committee for selecting Modi Care for this prestigious award. I am incredibly honored to accept this on behalf of Modi Care. At Modi Care, we have a very strong culture and values that binds us, and we have created a workplace which is inclusive of people who want to thrive, and in turn help the growth of customers who are also from very diverse backgrounds. Modi Care offers an opportunity which is open to everyone, irrespective of caste, color, gender, and religion. So we have a very strong culture which has zero tolerance for posh, and we uphold principles of fairness and equality treatment for all in our organization. Also, the underlying ethos of Modi Care business opportunity promotes women empowerment. So, be it our women consultants or be it our women at office, we have been the trendsetters, and we are always
So,
building an inclusive workplace.
Miss Bimi, because
Okay.
thanks for speaking and sharing your experience. Now I would like to invite Mr. Binayak Jadhav, Business HR Partner, DIV-INC Sir India Private Limited, winner for Best Employer for PWD in small category. Mr. Binayak Jadhav, please cover in within 1 minute.
Okay, first I'm very happy to receive, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I am very happy to receive this award for every donation. Thanks to all the dignitaries, SOHM team and the members and presidents for this award. So let me narrate a beautiful quote by Arthur Chan: diversity is a fact, equity is a choice, inclusion is an action, and belongingness is an outcome. So this initiative was driven right from the top management from every direction, where we started PWD journey did a feasibility study, and we understood that from the sensitization program what we had for the shop floor employees and for our managers and leadership, like people are not useless but they are helpless. So with this we named the project as Able Plus, and currently if you ask me, we are having persons with disability at our Gurgaon plant. We have having an R&D center in Pune. Last month we started in our HO where we have one recruited in finance department, couple of more we are going to do that. And the plan for 2021 is to induct 20 more or more than that in our Gurgaon, in our Bangalore and Pune location. So let me tell you this, that
Mr.
it is
Vinay,
just a start and a long way to go. Thank you. Thanks a
we
lot.
will give another opportunity, please.
Yeah.
Mr. Suri, Executive Vice President, Human Resource, Edelman India Private Limited, winner for Best Employer for Women in Small Category. Mr. Pankaj Suri. Mr. Pankaj Suri, are you there?
Yeah. No, Honorable Minister Shri Ratanlal Ji, Kataria Ji, President Association Shri Vineet Agarwal Ji, and respected jury members and other dignitaries. First of all, I want to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to be part of today's session on a very important and a timely topic. At Edelman, we believe that a workforce comprised of employees from all demographics and with diversity in background and experiences can provide innovative and creative solutions for our clients, which is central to what we are and who we are. Thank you everyone to all and for giving us the opportunities, and my heartiest congratulations to all the winners. Thanks.
Sandeep, आप mute.
Sandeep, you are on mute, Sandeep.
Sorry. So, Ms. Tina Birod, Head of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Social Change, ThoughtWorks Technology India Private Limited, winner for in both category for Best Employer for Policy and D&I and Women in Medium category. Please, Ms. Tina Birod.
Yeah, thank you so much, ASSOCHAM, and everyone involved with the award. We are honored and elated to win the excellence, the Best Employer for Policies, as well as the Best Employer for Women. At ThoughtWorks, we truly believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion have the power to create transformative social change. And our purpose is to create an extraordinary impact through our culture and technology excellence. I also congratulate all our co-winners, and I hope we get the opportunity to work together at some point in time. And thank you so much, everyone.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations to Ms. Tina Birod or in your company. And now I would like to invite Mr. Aji George, winner in Best Employer for PWDs and second runner in D&I in large category. Mr. Aji George.
Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks, ASSOCHAM, Mr. Vineet and Mr. Anil. Thank you so much. I also congratulate the co-winners. It's an amazing opportunity for us to be part of this whole group and quite prestigious award. So we, on behalf of the group, I'm so thankful for that. And I think across, we are here because all of us have been on a journey and we have been building that ecosystem and that inclusion culture, which has enabled us to grow. And I think that's very important for all of us. So congratulating everyone and thank you so much for everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Aji. And again, congratulations to you and your company and your efforts. So now we would like to invite Ms. Gayatri Ramamurthy, Senior Director, Lead Diversity and Inclusion and Learning Head, Capgemini India. Capgemini winners in both categories for policies on D&I and women, and also second runner-up in PWD in large category. So you are awarded in 3 of category in large. Please, Ms. Gayatri Ramamurthy.
Namaste. On behalf of Capgemini, with great pride and humility, I accept this award. Thank you so much, ASSOCHAM, and thank you to the leaders and minister in this session. There's perhaps nothing more empowering than feeling that we are seen, heard, and truly belong, irrespective of the sexual orientation, our gender, the race, or any other characteristics. Capgemini's diversity and inclusion journey has been challenging, though we recognize that it is a journey and not a destination. We are proud of the progress we've made so far, and we realize that there is much more to do together, along with many of the leaders present in this call, and many more who are not here in society and in corporate India. Living to the brand promise, get the future you want, we shall continue to bring to life our purpose of unleashing human energy through technology for a sustainable and inclusive future. Thank you.
Congratulations to Gayatri ji and Capgemini is always outstanding performance in all D&I domain. I request to Vinisa, please share your views and to congratulations to all winners. And because additional IDC message additional secretary will join within 5 to 10 minutes, he's in meeting. Please share your views. Vinisa.
I would like to heartily congratulate all the winners today at this Diversity and Inclusion Excellence Awards and Conclave. I think it's very heartening to see the work that all of you have put in a subject which requires a lot of attention. It gets a lot less attention than it deserves, and so I'm very, very enthused to see everyone over here today. And again, congratulations to everyone. I think I can keep speaking on, but I think that's not the objective of this conclave. So perhaps we can also get other speakers if Sandeep or if the secretary is going to be much more later, then maybe we can start the other program and then you can get him on board later on, whatever you and Anilji decide.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Vinisa. I request to Anil Raspu sir to deliver the vote of thanks to all preferential winners, please. Anil sir.
It's my proud privilege to give vote of thanks to Honorable Minister who came and joined us and shared his perspective as to what all his ministry is doing in the area of diversity and inclusion. They have major plans, and also inviting SHM to join hands with them in taking the agenda forward. Thank you, Minister Saab, for coming and joining us this morning. It encourages us and all the organizations who are doing great work in this area. Thank you. I'd also like to thank President SHM for joining us, sparing his valuable time and sharing his perspective in this area, and making commitment that SHM going forward will do more and more in the area of diversity and inclusion. And thank you, President, for coming and joining us. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank all the winners. Their organizations are doing great job, and I was personally looking into the kind of job that each organization is doing. It is not only people who have won the awards, it is also people who participated. Each one of them is doing such a wonderful job in this area. They are actually unsung heroes of our country, because not many corporates have come forward in doing what these corporations are doing. So my heartfelt congratulations to all those who participated in these awards, and also those who made the cut and won the awards. They deserve special thanks from the SHM. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank my jury members who spent a huge amount of time tirelessly evaluating all the nominations that came. We had a very, very difficult time in deciding as to who should be included, who should not be included, who has worked on all the parameters, who have not worked on some of the parameters, how we have to make evaluation on each one of them. So it was a very hard task for us to arriving at the winners. It was a very big learning experience for me also personally doing this work. So my congratulations to all the winners once again. And I'd like to thank the entire SHM team, which has provided us huge amount of support in reaching to this level. And I'm sure going forward from the learning of this year, we will make these awards even better going forward and see how we can sensitize the corporates to come forward more and more in this area and bring in an inclusive environment for all those people who deserve attention from the society, so that we have more inclusive society, because only it is inclusive society that can actually last. If we don't have a sustainable and inclusive society, country will have many problems going forward. And all of us who are more, what should I say, who have all the luxuries of life, if we don't come and share with all those who deserve more, then we will be the major losers and not the society, because ultimately society has to be there for everybody's sustenance and a long-lasting environment. So I like to thank everyone once again for coming and joining us for this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anil sir. Thank you, President sir. And just like we will provide to other winners speaking opportunity in next session. Session will be continue. Yeah, and I would like to invite Mr. Vishal Kedia to lead the next session. Mr. Vishal Kedia.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and congratulations to all the awardees. What I'm going to do is put a context. Like we looked at all these awards. We basically looked at that leaders play a very important role as far as implementation of D&I within the organization is concerned. Governments definitely can make the law, but unless corporates don't come forward and do their bit, I personally believe that it's impossible for the society to change. In India, definitely more and more things are being done towards diversity and inclusion, at least from the law perspective. We already know about the law for prevention of sexual harassment of women. We know about the rights of people with disability. But apart from that, if you look at over the last 2-3 years, there have been several other laws also which have come in. For example, the HIV Act, which came in 2018, and the Transgender Act, which came in last year, which is also mandatory for all organizations. So in our interaction with various corporates, and also while we were doing this evaluation of all these awards, we found that the biggest challenge is also about awareness of these aspects of it. So corporates are not aware that there are laws like this which are mandatory to them, because of which it's not being implemented. And if you look at from a characteristics of an inclusive leadership, what we found is that visible commitment of the management is the most important thing. Because if management is not committed and their commitment is not visible to the people at large, then obviously people don't feel included as far as the organization is concerned. And if we were to look at corporates who walk the talk, again, 2-3 years back, we found that in one of the organizations, there was an allegation against the chief diversity officer with regards to a discrimination against a person for his sexual orientation. And in that case, when this was brought to the notice of the management, they immediately inquired into it. And when they found, they did not even hesitate to terminate the chief diversity officer for doing violations like this. Apart from that, also, if you were to look at, government is actually providing a lot of incentives too for corporates with regards to implementation. So again, out there, we still believe that a lot of awareness can be done. And again, just to give an example with regards to people with disability, under the RPWD Act, there are incentives for the private sector to be able to employ more people with disability. For example, out there, for 10 years, government is saying that we will pay for the employer contribution to EPF and ESIS. Similarly, they are saying that for the gratuity payable to people with disability, we will pay 1/3 of their gratuity. So there are so many of these programs are there, which possibly, if people are aware and if management is aware, they can do a lot more better. Also, in our experience, what we've seen is that corporate communication with respect to diversity and inclusion is also extremely important. We've seen at times casually where people, when you're referring to people with disability, we unknowingly identify them as disabled people. Now, this can be quite inappropriate and offensive as compared to comparing people with disability with other people. At times we call them able people or healthy people. Again, out there, one can say they're non-disabled. So there are, I think, so a lot has to be done with regards to corporate communication also, so that people in their organizations, I would say even unconsciously, do not feel, I would say, discriminated against. Yes, in the government sector, obviously, government has made reservations for PWD. In the private sector, currently is not there, and we've seen several organizations doing a lot. With regards to prevention of sexual harassment, we found that most of the organizations are somewhere on the spectrum. They have done a lot in that. With regards to PWD, our experience has been that yes, very few organizations have done it. Again, out there, awareness not being there. And with regards to the other ones like HIV and transgender, I think so we've not seen too much of awareness at all. And so therefore, I believe that ASSOCHAM, with regards to their members at least, is doing or trying to do a lot to educate them with regards to these various laws for diversity and inclusion. And because of which we believe that a lot of change can be done. Again, what one can say is with regards to leadership, visible commitment is the most important thing. Apart from that, management should also be, or the leader should also be aware of their personal biases. It could be an unconscious personal bias, so they should be aware of it. And not only should they be aware of it, they should also have humility along with it, because if you say, okay, this is who I am, take it or leave it, then that doesn't matter. One should be aware of their own limitations and also be open to, I would say, feedback, so that they can actually make about a proper change. So I think these are a few of my thoughts, which I wanted to kind of put in the context what leadership role can play in the D&I space. And now what I will do is I will, for providing industry perspective, I will invite Mr. Neeraj Parihar, Executive Vice President, Leader, Insight and Data Global Business Line, India, Capgemini, to share with us his industry view, industry perspective, and thereafter I will also call other awardees to say a few words. Mr. Neeraj Parihar.
Yes, thank you and good afternoon. My warm respect to all the eminent dignitaries here, and I'm very proud to be here speaking to all of you. I have two roles in Capgemini. One, I am a business leader in insights and data, but the role that I'm really proud of is what we call a male champion for diversity and inclusion initiative. Earlier on, we realized that in order for us to advance in the diversity and inclusion, the men have to be big allies of that initiative. And I'm speaking to you here today as a representation of that, as a male champion for D&I in Capgemini, and I'm very proud of that. Now, introducing Capgemini a little bit to all of you. We are a 17 billion euro organization, about 270,000 people across the globe, out of which 120,000 are in India. We are very well known for our people's strategies and commitment to the society. We are a European headquartered firm and who operate in more than 50 countries. And at any given point of time, we have people from more than 100 different nationalities working for us. And it is this rich cultural diversity that paves the way for all of our diversity and inclusion, as well as the CSR initiatives. A while ago, my colleague, Ms. Gayatri Ramamurthy, talked about our purpose statement, which is Capgemini's purpose is to unleash human energies through technologies for a sustainable and inclusive future. And therefore, the sustainability and inclusiveness is not just tokenism or lip service for us, but it is in fact our corporate goal and objective for a long term long term to come. And in the spirit of that sustainability and inclusion, we view that space in three large towers. One is diversity and inclusion, which I'll talk about quite a bit, especially focusing on gender diversity. We are also doing path-breaking work in digital inclusion as well as environment and sustainability. When we come to diversity and inclusion, we are addressing multiple aspects of diversity and inclusion, starting from gender diversity, LGBTQ, to generational diversity, to persons with disabilities. But we do believe that a significant amount of effort still needs to be made in the gender diversity first, catering to enabling our women colleagues to stay in their jobs and also grow with us. To that extent, a lot of our approaches are based on one or two patterns that we've seen in the industry. Number one, if you look at the intake level, the industry hires roughly about 50% of women and 50% of men. But by the time they reach the senior management levels, the women reduce to 10% of that population, which essentially means that from the intake to the highest levels in the organization, the industry is losing 40% of the qualified workforce. This you combine with the fact that men seem to grow much faster and better in the organization ladder, despite the fact that the women associates tend to be a lot more reliable and lot more loyal to the organization, tells us that we are dealing with a significant amount of cognitive bias, the intentionality of women towards their career, equality, and enablement. We launched WINspire as our flagship initiative to address essentially all of it. What we are doing there is trying to address the gender diversity space in three aspects. We intensifying the hiring. We are also doing a lot of things to retain our women employees and also develop them to become the future leaders in our organization. When it comes to hiring, our best experience of demonstrated experience of really intensifying the hiring was during COVID time. If you look at the analysts, what they've said is during COVID, one of the initiatives that will go to the back burner is the DNI initiative. But in fact, we have done exactly opposite. At Capgemini, we said that we'll use that time as an opportunity to consolidate our position in the women hires. And as a matter of fact, in 2020, we hired historically high number of women in our organization and much higher number than the men. So that was a great accomplishment we had. COVID also taught us that we could be location agnostic with our approaches, and we launched a program called Sakshi Darshikon, where we essentially went to the rural areas of the country to hire capable underprivileged women who otherwise would not have an opportunity to do jobs with us for the lack of infrastructure and training. As we speak, we are hiring close to 600 such women employees to come and join us and be part of our journey. The other thing that we have done is we have also addressed the intersectionality by creating a program around inviting back women who, for whatever reason, had to leave the jobs after a few years of working, and now are available to come back to the organization. So this program called Captivate, where we're welcoming them back, we invite them, we make their skills current and help them easily transition back into the mainstream jobs. Again, a very successful program. While we do all of this, we also make tremendous amount of data-driven decisions to ensure that if there is a bias in our sourcing processes or interview processes, we know it upfront and do the cultural and subconscious awareness type of trainings to make sure that those biases are addressed. When it comes to retention, one of my favorite program is Fair Welcome. The intersectionality for the women, typically the big event is when they are on their family way and have to decide to serve the family or the profession. What we have done is we have essentially given options for them to be able to do both. Our Fair Welcome program provides a generous amount of paid leaves. And not only that, when women are in that process and after, we create the buddy system for them to stay current with what's happening in their teams, their organizations, so that when they come back, we easily absorb them back in the system. So very popular program. We also launched flexi work from home. And given the COVID experience, we realized that women were getting more and more busier at their homes, and therefore there was a need to create some very curated roles for the at least on a temporary basis, when they have to pay attention to the family, they could get into roles that are little less demanding, at least till the time they fulfill their family commitments. So, and then in addition to that, we're one of the first organizations in India, I believe, who had even 15 years ago the culture of having play schools within our campuses, so that the working parents could leave their children in the same offices and meet them throughout the day, and the women don't have to leave jobs for that. So the retention has been quite powerful. On the development, it's a top driven approach. We run a very powerful sponsorship program where all the senior leaders in Capgemini India are sponsoring one or two women associates from different grades within the company, and essentially making sure that they get to vice president levels. And in fact, even as I speak, there are close to 40 such women associates who are on their ways to become vice presidents with us, and I'm keenly looking forward to that outcome. So as you see, what we have done in the D&I space, and especially in the gender diversity space, is a very well-rounded, very thought-out approach. We have gone, way beyond the tokenism of this, and have meant what we want to do, and have constantly enriched our approaches and learned from our experience. It is this reason because of which we have been constantly getting a number of recognitions. We were awarded from UN Asia Pac to Avatar to Jobs for Her. The recognitions just pouring in. And I would like to thank ASSOCHAM today for once again recognizing us for the phenomenal work my team is doing, Capgemini is doing in this space. Now I can, take all the credit of the leadership direction and the policies we are making, but in reality, the real winners are the women at Capgemini who have done tremendous work in giving their hard work, keeping their intention of their profession careers intact, and made us better. It is because of them we are today a lot more innovative company. We are today a lot more appealing company. Our policies are a lot more refined because of the diverse perspectives they're bringing to us at different levels, as well as our risks are a lot more mitigated because of their presence. So I congratulate all of them for doing a fantastic job for us and for the industry. And I do hope that the journey that we have started becomes a big movement for a beautiful country to get into an equality space which all of our fellow human beings deserve. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Neeraj, for giving the industry perspective. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite all the Balance awardees to kind of share their experience on this D&I journey. And please keep it within 2 minutes, each of y'all. So first, I will invite Mr. Ashwini Saxena, CEO, JSW Foundation. They are the second runner-up for Best Employee for Policy on D&I in the small category. Mr. Saxena.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts. it's very heartening to see that JSW Shakti, which is a very new kid on the block, I would say, has been conferred this award. JSW Shakti itself has come come up as an institution on the basis of a long run work that we've done as JSW Foundation in a very remote area of Ballari district, which has now become recently Vijayanagar district, where women had very limited number of options in terms of livelihoods, and one of them also happened to be at some point of time Devdasi Pratha. So from there, doing women empowerment, bringing women out of that fold and giving them a lot of, I would say, respectable options for taking jobs. I think that has been the journey which has culminated into the formation of this Section 8 foundation called JSW Shakti. And JSW Shakti is now growing bigger and bigger with every passing day, bringing under its fold all women livelihood opportunities, all women empowerment programs, and making sure that the women from the north, south, and east, west of the country are all under one fold, which is JSW Shakti. One of the most prestigious programs that we've been running under JSW Shakti has been the rural BPOs, and it's heartening to see how women who are at best 12th standard pass are able to, do e-publishing work and are able to do a lot of BPO works, which big, mainstream, I would say, mainstream BPO organizations would be doing in some Tier 1 or Tier 2 city. And you're talking about women to the strength of about 2,500 odd women working in some of the very remote areas of India, all plugged in together as members of JSW Shakti, working on rural BPOs in very remote parts of the country. So I think that's the passion with which we are trying to nurture just JSW Shakti. The backing is there, obviously, from JSW Foundation and JSW as a group, which is a very diversified and very sensitive group in terms of its corporate responsibilities and social sensitivities. So we look forward to have more interactions with all of you, see how we can, build synergies with the work that we're doing. We would be very happy to scale up and partner and collaborate with organizations. And I wish all the best to everyone who's been there since morning on this platform. Would like to remain in touch with all of them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashwini. I think so. Shri Ashish Srivastav ji has joined us. Shri Ashish Srivastav ji, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India. Sir, if you can address the audience. Thank you.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be joining the entire elite gathering today, and the area where we are together deliberating and recognizing the efforts which have been made by industry and entrepreneurial initiative in the country. I think this is highly relevant because we all know that participation and full participation of women in economic activity is absolutely very, very highly important for two basic reasons. One, of course, they constitute half the population of the country. So their participation is absolutely quintessential for that. And secondly, we have to remember that it's when the women participate fully and actively and with the full bandwidth and opportunity and, facilitation, or rather, if I don't use the word facilitation, with full possibilities of no hindrance and no adverse, factors playing against their participation in economic activity in the country and in the world. It's only then that the other half of our humanity, which is the male half, if we say, or the other gender, they will be able to really take the required buoyancy to, and the economy and the entire social and economic and political activity will be able to really gather and gain the required buoyancy to really flourish. So we have to fully internalize this entire essential premise for us to really settle into the realm of being a healthy civilization and being a vibrant economy and society and culture. So as far as India is concerned, we know that the female labor force participation rate in the country has dropped over the past 50 years or so. And though there has been a very, very marginal increase between 17-18 and 18-19, yet irrespective of that very decimal kind of an increase, the situation is not good. If we look at the global gender gap index of course, we know about the Brisbane target, which is 25 by 25 and, increasing globally about 100 million women into the workforce by 2025. If we look at the gender gap index of the World Economic Forum, you see our position dropped from 98 in 2006 to 112 in 2020. Together, and especially with ASSOCHAM and industry associations and individual industries and commercial enterprise, we have to really ponder seriously on this, and to actually so here, if we go into the global gender gap index of the World Economic Forum and our ranking therein, and if we start looking at what happened from in 2006 and what our standing is in 2020. So whereas in 2006, as I just said, our rank was 98, and in 2020 it's 112. If we look at the the sub parameters within this index, one of the main important parameter in this, which is about economic participation and opportunity, in 2006, whereas our rank was 110, now in 2020 our rank was 149. So we've done a good job on getting pulled down or falling down. Of course, there are the areas like educational attainment, health and survival, political empowerment. Only in political empowerment, we moved 2 ranks up from 20 to 18. In health and survival and education, we've had a drop. If we go further down into the sub-parameters of the parameter pertaining to economic participation and opportunity, where our rank is 149 and our score is 0.354 against an average score of 0.582. If we go into the constituent parameters, the main constituent parameters of this indicator, if we look at the labor force participation rate, there our rank is 145 and our score is 0.304 against a global average of 0.661. If we look at wage equality for similar work, then our rank is 117. Our score is 0.555 against a global average of 0.613. Estimated earned income in thousands of dollars, our rank is 144 and our score is 0.206 against an average of 0.4499. That is about 0.5. We are at 0.2. Senior officials and managers and legislators, our rank is 136. Our score is 0.158 against a global average of 0.356. Professionals and technical workers, our rank is 132. Our score is 0.434 against a global average of 0.756. So these are all sub-parameters into the index of economic participation and opportunity, which is one of the key parameters feeding into the global gender gap index of the World Economic Forum. Our status as on 2020. And as I just tried to put across, our averages, we are definitely well below average in all the constituent indicators and parameters there. So we definitely need to be giving it a good thought and giving it a good response in clear, outcome oriented, output and outcome oriented terms. We all know that women and girls and children and the other marginalized sections of society, they tend to be more disproportionately impacted by any calamity, or, you know, for that matter, any kind of calamity, be it natural, be it man-made, or be it otherwise. Be it natural or man-made, that suffices. So in the context of COVID, women have had to face a disproportionate burden, and that has exacerbated the possibilities of their entering and remaining retained in the workforce, in the labor market, as well as in positions across the vertical spectrum, which I would say includes positions at the managerial and the board level, and also at the brown and blue collar level activity. So, of course, there are gender stereotypes which are strong, which are standing, and we need to be able to properly continue to improve our way to be able to respond to them, including being able to bring in effect cultural shifts. There are issues relating to pay gaps across gender pay gap, and there's a need to have stronger monitoring tools so that we are able to capture what are the results and what are the outputs, which are the activities, and what are the outcomes, which are the results of our activities. So, at the outset, I think this would be relevant for us to understand and to keep remembering that there is never going to be, at least in the near future, we don't see that what we have done is enough. Of course, we are doing a lot. And the very fact that we are able to identify excellent achievers who we can consider for conferring awards, that's in itself a proof that we are aware of the realities in this context, and that we need to be and that we are working in response to the challenges which are there culturally, socially, economically, and all the ways. One thing more which I missed in the middle was about care economy. Women spend 5+ hours, somewhere in the in doing non-paid 7.5 hours in non-paid activity as compared to 5.5 hours. So those that kind of statistics is also there, and we need to be able to factor in all the related aspects of the care economy, because that feeds into the possibilities of better and greater economic activity overall, and sharing of the care burden, which women bear disproportionately higher. So, given all these, baseline facts, and some of the studies and indicators and indices, which are, I talked of one of the indices, which is the Global Gender Gap Index of the World Economic Forum, into the details of that. But the fact remains that the reality is standing in front of our eyes, and we need to be able to remember and to be able to continually respond to it in better and better ways every day, every hour, and every moment. And together we have to do this, and be able to bring about the change which we aspire and dream for in the least possible time. So I think that's all that I would want to say at this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Srivastava, for sharing your views on a lot which India needs to do with regards to gender diversity and gender gap. Thank you so much for your views. Definitely, I think it will encourage the corporate world to do a lot more than what they are already doing right now. Again, and next, I would like to call upon Mr. Dharyal. He was actually going to speak towards the end, but I think he has to also go for a meeting. He's a consultant with Niti Aayog, and he is the former state commissioner for person with disability, state of Delhi. So I would request Mr. Dharyal to share his views with us. Mr. Dharyal.
Okay. Okay. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Your video, I think the video is not on.
It's not on. It's on. Namaskar, everybody. Thank you, SOCM, Mr. Anil Rajput and his team for thinking about this kind of program, the Diversity and Inclusion Excellence Awards. It's a great idea. No other, perhaps, industry chamber has thought about it. And therefore, it's a big congratulations. This is the second award, second year we are in here. I also thank all the participating companies who have decided, who have thought about it, who tried to know about it. So this is the beginning itself is a great initiative, and I'm sure with this it is, as somebody said, it is only journey, not a destination. Destination is, of course, for all of us, very far. And even if we have done very little in the area of diversity and inclusion, and if we continue to do it, we'll definitely reach the greater heights. I'm very, very sure about that. One very important thing that I observed during the last 2 years, the jury members, other than me, who comes from the disability sector, have pitched in for inclusion of people with disabilities more forcefully and fiercely than I. Like Vishal, like Anilji last time, we said no, we need to do a lot. We haven't done enough for people with disabilities for inclusion in the industry. And therefore, unless companies have done it so well, we must have another meeting. We deliberated. That is why he was repeatedly saying that it was very difficult for us to arrive at a conclusion which company should be first, second, third, or even should be there or not. So there is no doubt that we have to do a lot, not only the private companies, but also the government, where there is a provision for 5% reservation of vacancies in education institutions. But then I'm very happy to note during these 2 years, particularly this year, that despite there not being any obligation on the part of the companies from the legislation, many of them are doing very well. Many of them have created so much of infrastructure, accessible infrastructure, and then created accommodations, reasonable accommodations that we call. So this all of us know that unless we include people with disabilities in our workforce, in our society, everywhere, whatever we do, we cannot have an inclusive society. We cannot keep our promise that no one will be left behind in Sustainable Development Goals. By 2030, we need to include everyone. And there, 11 times, the persons with disabilities have been mentioned explicitly in the agenda. So therefore, we have to remind us time and again that it is our duty, not only because there is an obligation by legislation, but also our duty to ensure that we have an inclusive society. We ensure that the people with disabilities are not only the receivers of the doles, receivers of charity, but they are contributors, active contributors to the economy and the nation building. And the companies can do a great deal, can help them to assist them to contribute to the nation building by the people with disabilities. उनकी भागीदारी होना बहुत जरूरी है. उस भागीदारी में हम लोगों को इकट्ठा होना, the companies को इकट्ठा होना, पूरा एक समाज में उनका समावेश करना बहुत ही आवश्यक है. What I think is that unless unless we are aware what Mr. Kedia said, that many of the companies are not aware about what the legislation is. For example, we say inclusion. We need to have awareness. We need to have access. Many people with disabilities, many companies are not able to employ people with disabilities because there is no access. Access to physical environment, access to information and communication technologies and the ecosystem. And then we are not able to give them proper opportunity. They are not able to take that opportunity. We are not able to give that opportunity. So therefore, these two things are very important: accessibility and then awareness. And in fact, we are assessing our schemes of the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, particularly the accessible India part of it. So there is lot needs to be done, even in the government organizations. There are many companies who have been excellent, and given an opportunity, I give you an example of an officer. His name is Regjan Semfe. Regjan Semfe is cleared the civil services examination in 2003 examination batch. People said he's a person with disability. People said he cannot be suitable for a job of an IS officer, and therefore he was given some other service. From Masuri, he rang me up. So this is the condition. I said, I want to file a complaint. The fear in his mind was the service that he is getting, he was getting at that time, may not get. There may be so many, roadblocks to him. I said, no. Then later on, after some struggle, a lot of struggle, and also the initiative and the intervention from the PMO, that gentleman became an IAS officer, was given IAS officer. He was given UP cadre, and he was district magistrate in a number of districts, and everywhere he went as a district magistrate, created history. And I used to read in the India Today, almost 6 months. Every 6 months, one story, one new initiative, small initiative, but life-changing initiative for the citizens. That is what they can do. I have another that kind of number of stories. Another IAS officer in Madhya Pradesh with blindness. So if you give them opportunity, you will see the change. You cannot imagine what they can do. Can you imagine that a person without both arms in Gujarat is a tailor? He does everything. अपने पैरों से सब कुछ करता है. So we need to give them opportunity. And if the companies do that, nothing like that. And that is, you need to be seen. You need to be seen. And then, of course, in the hierarchy ladder, they must be given that opportunity also to head the organization. They can head the organization. There are people. But at the same time, we have to ensure that their productivity, we do not do it charity. We do not do just charity. We need to ensure that their productivity is also reasonable. It is only if they contribute to the company's productivity, will they feel dignified. Otherwise, giving them only salary, allowing them to come to office or not come to office is not enough. That is playing with their dignity. We need to empower them. We need to create that ecosystem. We need to train them. We need to provide them the aids and appliances that they need so that their productivity, if not equal, if not more, then is not less than equal than others. That's what I have to say. And once more, I thank you. Thank ASSOCHAM and every one of you, all the winners as well as the participants. I must say, those who found out that there is a program like this of ASSOCHAM and they came forward, that itself is a great initiator, and I see a lot of hope in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dharyalji. Thank you for your advice on an ongoing basis with regards to implementation of the law with regards to people with disability. Now we'll go back to the winners so that they can actually share their experiences. So I would like to call upon Ms. Rama Kirloskar, Director, Kirloskar Brothers Limited. They are the second runner-up for the best employer for women in the small category. Ms. Kirloskar.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be addressing this august audience today. On behalf of Kirloskar Brothers Limited, I take this opportunity to express immense gratitude for conferring the ASSOCHAM Diversity and Inclusion Excellence Award under the Best Employer for Women category. At Kirloskar Brothers, we have always believed in setting newer trends, which have over the years become milestones for the industry at large. Diversity and inclusion are values that define KBL's workplace culture, and the company has a legacy of being ahead of the curve in building an equal opportunity workforce. KBL has been at the forefront of contributing towards causes that promote gender equality. In fact, the organization has always propagated and been widely regarded for its all-inclusive work culture. The inception of our all-women plant at Kannur, near Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu, has been a further step in the same direction. We started this plant in 2011, and it has been one of our most productive plants, producing one pump every 17 seconds. We employ around 180 women between the ages of 20 and 35, who were all 8th grade dropouts. And we ensured that they received extensive shop floor training for around 6 months. And other than just employment, it has brought about a huge social change in this area. This village where we set up our women's facility had a history of child marriage. Girls were seen as a burden on the family. However, after we have employed these women and they transformed them into breadwinners for their families are reluctant to marry them off. In fact, today our women not only stay with us after marriage, many of them have also relocated their husbands to Kannur. So I believe that this inclusion is one of the keys to our success, and it may be one reason why our forward-thinking organization remains in existence for more than 100 years. We would continue to support ideas that promote overall growth and progress with utmost zeal. And it feels great to be recognized and motivates us to go a step further. This award is dedicated to every member of the KBL family who has helped us reach where we stand today. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rama, for sharing your experience. Now I would like to call Ms. Garima Pant. She is Lead Rewards Digitization and HR Business Partner at Sony Pictures Network. Ms. Pant.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to this esteemed audience. At Sony Pictures Networks, for us, DEI, as we call it, diversity, equity, and inclusion, has been a journey of multi-years. We have a philosophy of bring your own self on what we call as BYOS. And in this philosophy, we primarily look at 4 pillars. The first being building gender diversity. While yes, women form 50% of the workforce, so that needs special mention and ensuring that we have the right set of things so that women do not drop off. But I'd like to share some initiatives which stand out for us. We do something known as Live Your Dream. This is keeping in mind imposter syndrome that women have. And here we ask for ideas, entrepreneurial ideas from our employees, which we are ready to fund. So that's something which stands out for us and gets a lot of ovation from our women employees. The second most important thing that we feel and where we feel that we have a larger play as a media and entertainment organization is through our content, because we reach over 700 million households. So inclusion as a narrative for content is something which is very critical for us, where we look at unstereotyped content. We bring about issues in our shows which otherwise are not talked about, or bringing normality around those. So talking about things which could be as basic as menstrual hygiene to things which are about domestic violence, however, this time not on women, but on men. So how do we look at inclusion coming through our content? That's another big thing. And we feel that we have to be very responsible as an entertainment company around that. The other big element which we feel while we look at diversity and getting more people is how do we optimize cognitive thinking and sensitize our people? So like it was mentioned earlier, we have something known as Breaking Barriers, a program where we invite individuals who've excelled across industries and could be either persons of with disability or members of the LGBT plus community. They come, share their ideas, and break myths and stereotypes that exist in our people, which make them more inclusive. So we had the IS officer Ira Singhal come talk to us and give an inspirational talk. Similarly, we have Raga De Silva, who is part of our DNI Apex Council, and she's a member of the LGBT plus community. So these are things which give us a holistic view on how we look at DEI. And that's just about it. We are into the journey and we hope that we improve year on year. A very big thank you to ASSOCHAM for this recognition, and I'm sure we will do much more in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Garima.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So this was Sony Picture Network. They are the second runner-up for the best employer for policy on DNI and the best employer for women in the medium category. Now, next, I'll call Mr. Panish Rao. He's the Chief People Officer at Mindtree. Mindtree and Standard Chartered are sharing the second runner-up for the best employer for women in the large category. Again, I'll request everyone to keep it to about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Thank you so much. Mr. Rao.
Thank you. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, heartfelt gratitude to Associated Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India for conferring this honor on Mindtree. This is a testimony to what we are doing and confirms that we are on the right path while there is still miles to go for us. DNI to Mindtree is as important as financial performance. This being, we are never at rest and always attempt to do more. We are adding differently able, and I heard Mr. Daryal with great interest, and I'm sure I will be happy to know that we are adding differently able to our portfolio of DNI and hope to make our little contribution to the society with their inclusion in our workforce. This award for Best Employer for Women in the large business category is dedicated to all our lady minds in Mindtree for making us so proud. Thank you once again for this honor.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. Now I'll next call upon Mr. Sanjay Gurjar, Managing Director and Head of FI India and South Asia, Standard Chartered India. They are the second runner-up for the best employer for women in the large category. Sanjay.
Yeah, hi. Vishal, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Great. Good morning, everyone. We at Standard Chartered Bank humbly accept this award. Thank you so much to ASSOCHAM and the jury for recognizing our efforts. At Standard Chartered, of course, we're very passionate about our entire DNI approach. And what we are really looking at is in terms of connecting ourselves to colleagues, clients, and communities. Engaging, developing, and retaining diverse talent, making our bank the best place to work, delivering products and services that make us the best place to bank, and investing in our communities to help them prosper. So how we go about achieving these key objectives, we really focus on 5 diversity pillars. One, gender, nationality and ethnicity, disability, generations, and last but not the least, sexual orientation. Now, central to driving this entire DNI agenda in Standard Chartered is our Diversity and Inclusion Council. So this council is made up of senior leaders from businesses, regions, and functions, and is chaired by our country CEO, Ms. Zareen Daruwala, who herself has been a huge advocate for diversity and inclusion. Now, this council is responsible for overseeing the development and implementation of the bank's DNI strategy, providing strategic direction and monitoring progress as we seamlessly execute those plans throughout the rest of the organization. We are very enthused with ASSOCHAM's efforts to appreciate, highlight, and encourage work in the DNI field. This is a great initiative, and we look forward to continue being closely associated with it. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Your experience. Next, I will request Mr. Anurag Verma, Vice President HR, Unifor Software Systems Private Limited, to share their experience. They are the first runner-up for the best employer for policies on DNI in the small category. Mr. Verma.
Thanks, Vishal. Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of the management, the senior leadership of Unifor, and all the people across the globe. We most humbly accept this. We are a growing company, a company which is started and incubated in IIT Madras, India, now building products for the world. So we are today 300 plus people present across Americas, India, and different parts of the globe. And for us, this is very core to us. We believe in one big family, and a family wherein we have equal opportunities for all, respect for all, and most importantly, create a very vibrant, inclusive, diverse workforce. Uh, we are on the path towards this journey. Currently, in these 300 people, we have around 35% women, and most importantly, around 30% women in CXO level positions. We are not happy with this. The destination is bigger. We want to create more diversity and more better policies, practices, and most importantly, a very deep culture of a family which will embrace all as they are unique individuals. We look forward to all the great insights of the industry leaders and SHM for the best practices which can help us build further on this journey. Once again, thanks a lot. A lot of gratitude to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Anurag, for sharing your experience. Next, I will call Mr. Ashok Naval. He is the founder for Visol India Services Private Limited. They are the first runner-up for the best employer for PWD in the small category. Mr. Naval.
Thanks to all of you. And really, I appreciate the ASSOCHAM's, this is to give the award of excellence in award and include for diversity and inclusion. The subject matter which was said as a physical disabilities, but I will say my experience from my childhood, because I'm 72% physically disabled. And I started this company, and I feel that it is the disabled should be said as the specially able, because those specially able persons have got the determination, work consistently, and wherever the disabilities, whether by the timing or whether by the physical disabilities, we have to definitely respect those, because that is the, with all that persistent mind, with that consistency, with the determination to succeed, organization always succeed. And that is the reason, as a value system of our Visol, we always give the preference to the disabled person as well as women. I'm proud to say that in my organization, a middle and top level management, you can say it is with the majority, it is managed by the disabled as well as the women. And that is the reason I say my company is growing every year. Growth rate is substantially maintained. Even in the COVID period, we could do a lot of innovative minds with a lot of things we could introduce in our company. And those best practices we embed to our clients also. And that is the reason we contribute a little bit as a squirrel's role, but nonetheless, building the confidence in disabled as well as the women enterprises. I dedicate this award to those disabled and women employees of my company as well as across whosoever is working for them. Thank you, and I'm honored and I'm grateful to the ASSOCHAM for giving me the award. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Naval. Next, I will request Ms. Anita Rao, Manager Corporate Communication, Amway India Enterprises Private Limited, to share their experience. They're the first runner-up for the best employer for women in small categories. Ms. Rao.
Thank you, Vishal. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Amway India, myself, one of the proud members of the DNI Council at Amway, would like to take this opportunity to thank ASSOCHAM for awarding us with the Best Employer for Women in the small category at this second edition of ASSOCHAM DNI Excellence Awards. It's truly an honor to be recognized for our efforts in supporting and empowering women workforce in the organization. We firmly believe that the advancement of women is crucial for the success of the company, and hence we have made conscious efforts to promote diversity and inclusion at Amway. There are several initiatives that we have taken to accelerate the growth of our women employees, which includes the leadership programs, policies supporting the work-life balance while ensuring the utmost safety at the workplace. Be it implementation of the POSH policy at work or the series of highly engaging wellness program to help prioritize women health in addition to their work and personal responsibilities. Some of the other initiatives are supporting employees, women employees in particular, during different life stages, be it flexi working, commuting, on-site creche at corporate and manufacturing facility are some of the policies that we feel that encourages mothers to resume the corporate career. I would, of the many women-friendly HR policies that we have, I would definitely want to call out one of these unique and transformational talent development initiative, which is called as Shadow Board, which has been a tremendous success for us, which has actually enabled women to be promoted in key roles and positions. This award is a testimony to the efforts that our organization Amway has put in towards building a diverse and inclusive environment. This also encourages us to continue working towards the betterment of the working culture of women while empowering them. Thank you once again. I would also like to congratulate all the participants as well as our co-winners here today. Thank you very much, Vishal. Thanks.
Thank you, Anita. Next, I'll call Ms. Seema Gupta. She is Director HR for Comviva Technologies Limited. They are the first runner-up for the Best Employer for Policy on DNI in the medium category. Ms. Gupta.
Thank you. Into such diverse Srivastava.
Seema, your voice is breaking.
No,
we can't hear you. No. Maybe if you can try to switch off the video, like the video and just talk, then maybe.
Am I audible now? Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible now.
Okay. So I was just saying that India's standing World Economic Forum Global. So much that has been done, there's much more that has to be done. So at Comviva, we are a global player solutions. We're part of the Mahindra Group, and 1 out of every 4 people across the globe would experience our products and services in one way or the other. And we have a presence across 95 countries, which necessitates us to look at DNI very closely. And at the same time, pride ourselves in being equal opportunity employer. So if you look at it, we make sure that our environment diversity, which we specifically introduced was to enable transitioning of support to motherhood. So before 2014, we figured that a lot of women colleagues were requesting for extension of maternity breaks as well as wanting to take a career break in order to take care of their children. And one proactive measure we introduced in 2014 was to introduce this nanny charges, which were offered for all our people having children up to 2 years of age. They could claim on a monthly basis without having to produce any receipts, and this charge of nanny being borne by Comviva directly. So this resulted in about 50% reduction in our requests for extension of maternity break, as well as continuity of our women colleagues to come back to work post maternity. Further, having a crash facility at work at a subsidized rate allows our people to, enjoy the benefit of saving up to 62% of the cost of a crash outside. And as part of our CSR, we own a compassion center, which is for, working with the underprivileged children. But this year, we extended the center to provide vocational support to our community women, and we tried to get them employed thereafter. So the whole focus was to extend the support from children on to women and being able to give back to the community. Apart from that, we make sure that our female employees are part of any new policy or any amendment to an existing policy in the organization. From inclusion perspective, I think particularly in the last a few months of lockdown, we've definitely made sure that our families of people are part of our celebrations, recognitions, and we truly have been commending them for supporting in allowing for a work from home a seamless experience. And at the same time, our employee assistance program, we extended it globally across 94 countries to make sure that emotional well-being and stress levels are adequately met for people through their one-on-one counseling and other help with the external counselors. So this has tremendously helped us in partnering with our people to appear more diverse in our approach, and the fact that today we are here, it's just a testimony to all the efforts that the organization has made in this direction. So thank you very much.
Vishali, you on mute.
My apologies. Thank you, Seema. I would next invite Ms. Preeti Arora. She's Senior Director with CRISIL Limited. They're the first runner-up for the Best Employer for Women in the medium category. Ms. Arora.
Thank you, Vishal. And first of all, thanks so much to ASSOCHAM and judges for this recognition for inviting us to this privileged forum. It was very nice and wonderful to hear everybody talk about their own experiences in this forum. And I think, like many of us have mentioned, I think for CRISIL as well, the agenda for diversity, equity, and inclusion has been very core for us for many years. And I think that stems from the fact and the belief that, diverse teams are not just anymore good to have, but they definitely lead to high performance and they make true business sense for all of us. And for us, our work has been around three areas. One is how do we create the right policies and enablement? How do we create the environment and culture? And how do we approach D&I with the right approach as well as the mindset? And, for us, the foundation has been the thought process that how do we make people thrive and bring their whole self to work and contribute to the best of their potential, irrespective of their race, their gender, their background, their special abilities, caste, religion. And so I think maybe I could just very briefly share in 2020 a few things we did at CRISIL. One was we focused on hiring women, so we had very specific women development programs. We also launched a program called Mamma Mia, which was to support the pre and post maternity, and just not for the women, but the managers as well. We also launched a women career development program for the mid-career stages, because that's where we always get challenged by the leaky bucket. We included the same-sex gender in our medical insurance to recognize that. And also our social and responsibility efforts have extended the financial literacy program that CRISIL has to over 2 lakh rural women. And I think programs like these are so important because they are, helping us learn from each other and make progress. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank the other winners for the passion towards this very important agenda. And thank you once again, ASSOCHAM, for encouraging us through these forums. Back to you.
Thanks, Preeti. Next, I will invite Ms. Vaishali Pathak. She is Global Head Technical Learning Services and Head Diversity and Inclusion at Tech Mahindra. They are the first runner-up for the Best Employer for Policy on D&I in the large category. Ms. Pathak.
Hi, good afternoon, and it's a great honor and privilege to receive this award. And I would also like to congratulate all the winners, because while I'm hearing everyone speaking about what differently is being done, But we all can see that the commitment and passion everybody is really having to make diversity and inclusion as one of the key agenda for the world, I would say, not only the organizations, but that's how I think we are all joining hands to make it possible. So when I talk about Tech Mahindra, like I would say that we are intentionally diverse and naturally inclusive because again, spread across 90 plus countries and people with 125 plus nationalities serving around 1,000 customers. Diversity is very natural to us. Like it's just one of the enablers for us, for the business as well as for our own associates development and growth. So we definitely have multiple streams of diversity in what we work. So gender is definitely the one. Apart from gender, generation diversity. And when I say generation diversity, it's not only the human, but even the humanoids. Like we have our own bot, K2, which works with us, and also the bots like UO and all. So it's about the co-working of human and robots. That's what we call it as generation diversity. Some of the programs I would like to highlight over here is that reverse mentoring. Like we have the younger folks mentoring even the CXOs in some of the upcoming areas. So that's reverse mentoring is almost 5,000 people are part of that reverse mentoring program where the younger generation is teaching us a lot more things. Then there are programs like Chrysalis, which are for top 300 leaders to ensure that they are on the growth path. When we talk about gender, we don't call it as men, women, but we measure the gender in 3 categories like men, women, and others or transgenders. So though it's very optional for people to declare their sexual orientation, but still a lot of programs are being undertaken for LGBTQ. In fact, we are amongst first to announce the sex reassignment surgery policy, plus the insurance coverage for the same-sex partner and paternity leave for same-sex adoption leaves and all that. There are LGBTQ communities are very active in the organization, and as Nihir mentioned about the main champion, actually we are also getting a lot of champions who are non-LGBTQ but working for that. As far as women are concerned, like right environment, right enablement, and empowerment, I think these are the 3 things. So environment in terms of the infrastructure like in-campus crash or tie-up with some crash, necessary policies of flexi work, security and safety, and proper commute help and all that. Those form the policies. As far as the enablement and empowerment is concerned, the right opportunities for women and right skilling, like making them ready for the new roles. And once they are done, how can we really deploy them into this leadership roles? In fact, TechM board has now 30% of women, which we were earlier 10%. We have 30% women in the board. So these are some of the things as far as the gender and generation is concerned. PWD, we work very closely with Tech Mahindra Foundation. We run the programs in ensuring that the people with disability are getting the deployment training and they get into the mainstream. I think that is one of the key agenda, and where we are working with some of our customers like Google, wherein we are having certain projects where these people with different abilities are deployed. And here we also talk about neurodiversity and all types of special abilities. So that's something we are focusing on PWDs. Of course, culture is one part wherein we are having diverse culture, people with diverse nationalities are there, and we ensure that all the cultures are respected, and that's how people work together. So this is in nutshell, I would say this is our commitment to diversity, and we continue to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaishali, for sharing your experience. Next, I will request Mr. Parveen Khan, Head Group Communication and CSR, Minda Corporation, to share their experience. The first award for the best employee for PWD in that category.
Thank you, Vishalji. Namaskar. I represent Minda Corporation Limited, which is an automotive component manufacturing company It has 33 facilities, including India, Vietnam, Indonesia, Uzbekistan. And coming to the corporate social responsibility part of the group, we've been doing it for close to 4 decades. Now coming and talking about the program for persons with disability, close to a decade's time, we have been engaged in this with an hypothesis of empowering persons with disabilities and giving them dignity and accessibility. We initiated this program in 2 states, UP and Maharashtra. Statistically, these 2 states were having highest number of persons with disabilities in the country. We have named this program Saksham. Saksham means ability. So we talk about ability and not about disability. What we do under this program is we provide accessible and assistive aid to persons with different types of disability, majorly targeting persons with locomotive disability because that's highest in number. We also capacitate the persons with disability to work and to be ready for the industry. The capacities are based on the skills which is required for the industry. We also change the ergonomics of our factories for easy accessibilities of persons with disabilities to work in a comfortable ecosystem. A scientific exercise that we did in an automotive setup was the job mapping exercise. The job mapping exercise was done in a way that we looked at all our manufacturing and non-manufacturing functions, and we listed the types of disabilities on the other axis and tried to find the best match, that what type of disability fits in which kind of job role. Accordingly, this exercise was conducted all over our manufacturing facilities, and we could identify approximately 1,000 opportunities for persons with different types of disabilities. We are proud to share that we have engaged persons with speech and hearing impairment, persons with locomotive disabilities, and many other types of disabilities who are close to 400 in number across our manufacturing locations. Well, so far, this program has reached to approximately 8,000 people. We face certain difficulties during this pandemic time when we observed that many persons with disabilities have gone back, or they are not able to, they were not allowed to come as per the government protocols. We tried to reaching them through ration kits. We helped them sustenance during this tough period. And now we are in an effort to get them back to our factories for their work. Under this program of Saksham, we work with close to 35 partners in India. They include NGO partners, they are corporate foundations, they are district administrations. It's a unique example of triple P model, and not only the public-private partnership model, but the people-private, private-private, and panchayat-private partnership model as well. We try reaching to the rural mass of persons with disabilities, who is one of the most neglected lot in the country. And the accessibilities are really challenging. We have not done this program only in India, but we have gone to Indonesia and Vietnam also for taking this program. That's the vision of our chairman, that he doesn't look at just the compliance of CSR, but he thinks that there is something called beyond compliance, based on which these kind of programs have been developed under our corporate social responsibility. So at this outset, I would like to thank Ashish Srivastava ji, Aryal ji, representative from ASSOCHAM. I would like to congratulate my co-winners for this program for the day. I thank the jury for selecting us, and we look forward with a narrative to change the world, and we have a long way to go. This is very small that we have done. We all collectively can do many more things. With this narration, I would like to stop here. Thank you very much.
Vishal, you on mute.
I apologize again. And finally, I would like to invite Neha Sethi from Teleperformance India, who is the first runner-up for the best employer for women in the large category. Neha Sethi.
I think Neha is not here, so please, we should go next session.
Okay. So we've heard now the journey of various corporates as to how they've gone ahead with regards to compliance with diversity and inclusion. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Rajiv Doval. He is the head for Times for India org to address us and share his views. Mr. Doval. So you're silent. You're on mute.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Hi Vishal, hi Sandeep,
Hi, sir.
and all the other jury members and the whole esteemed people who are here. For me, it's a very important sort of issue that we are talking about, and I don't see it from a very myopic view of gender and diversity. I really see it as what's happening in our country, in the economy segment. And when I talk about that, I one word that stuck to me was what was said by Mr. Dharyal, that we should not look at giving just an opportunity to people with diversity and people with disabilities, but we should ask them to be active contributors to the businesses. Unless that happens, this is just going to be letter and word. I mean, this is just going to be followed as programs and conferences and discussions. But unless we give them an active participation into the business, till that time, it's really not going to come up. And I think when we talk about diversity and inclusion, we must not just look at corporates, being part of it. I think it really starts from the start when the education is done. Just give me 1 second, please. I'm really sorry, there was sound behind that. So basically, I see this as the start of when you start your education, when your base is becoming there. I mean, we should be somehow as organizations we try to ingrain it into the people who are coming from a little limited background, that this is sort of a charity, or this is sort of a CSR, this is sort of our duty that we are doing. We really don't treat them equally. If I speak for our organization, Times of India, we have a very large force of employees who are women. We have a very huge amount of inclusion, and we have all kinds of people working with us, and we have very, very open atmosphere where we are, and there is no CSR or a corporate social responsibility or a charity sort of a feeling with our employees. So I think the key to this whole conference and the key to this whole issue is, as Mr. Dharyal very correctly put it, we must include them into the business segment of it. Hence, if Vishal or Sandeep would remember, when we were having these jury meetings, I was very, very fixated on, even if you have people from diverse background, gender diversity is going to be watched out and seen if they are at the deciding positions itself. They're not just part of the company, but they're at the deciding positions of the company, because they can really feel, they can really understand what can be done. So finally, I congratulate SHM, I congratulate Mr. Rajput and Sandeep and his whole team, Mr. Vishal Gedia, for making a very nice, absolutely important discussion on this very important topic, because this really concerns our economy. It just really doesn't concern one small minority. It really concerns our economy. We must take everybody together. It must be inclusive. So thanks very much for including this.
Thanks, Rajiv. Next, I will invite Dr. Prerna Kumar. She is Senior Technical Specialist with the International Center for Research on Women. Dr. Kumar.
Hi, thank you, everyone. Thank you for inviting this very, very esteemed event. And it's really exciting to hear from all the participants as well as the winners in terms of the initiatives that are being taken by the industry. Since I work specifically in an organization which engages on issues of gender and brings in a dimension of research, I would really focus on the fact that how time and again we are seeing that despite India moving in a direction where the enrollment rate for girls in education is really increasing tremendously. At the same time, we are not seeing that translating into girls and women participating in the economy. And unfortunately, I think these numbers were spoken about by Mr. Srivastav as well, so I'm not going to repeat some of that. But what's very unfortunate with us that is the fact that our social norms and the normative culture that we live in does not necessarily allow girls and women to fulfill their potential. For instance, if we really talk about, the fact that less than 1/4 of the women in this country are participating in the economy, it's something that should really shake us up and encourage us to ask this question: what is the reason behind women not participating in the economy despite education being provided and despite having access to at least some basic education, if not greater skilling and training programs? So that's one question which I would want all of us to really think about. The other important piece for us to think through is that while we completely understand why inclusion and diversity is required, and I think at least people who are on this forum currently appreciate fully well that if we have inclusion and diversity in our workforce, it helps increase the productivity, it enhances the growth, it reduces even the risks. Some of you spoke very beautifully about how during COVID also you've been able to thrive as a business with a very diverse workforce. But unfortunately, we have also seen time and again, oftentimes organizations and companies see it more of see this as a commitment to building brand and building goodwill, and not really think in terms of the economic gain that they receive from this kind of diversity of workforce. I think the speaker previous to me spoke very beautifully about how this is a very myopic view, and I completely agree and appreciate the fact that we, at least the people on this forum, appreciate that this myopic view is not something that's going to take us a long way. Interestingly, what we have seen time and again is also from the work that we engage with. We work with several corporate organizations, and some of them are global actors and global economic players. We've seen how, despite the fact that there is the felt need is there, the structures and the policies and the functions of within the industry does not necessarily allow them to move on the way of inclusion and diversity. For instance, I can give an example of a big apparel industry which we work with, and we have seen how there was a commitment from the leadership in terms of ensuring that they are able to retain their women workforce, and there were programs conducted for it. But then soon it was realized that it's not just the need to work with women. The need is also to engage with men who work with these women. The need is to create a safe space for women by really encouraging the men who work with them to provide that environment and to ensure that they don't really impinge on the rights of these women. And also, how do you then shed the entire normative thinking, because we are embedded in the social norms that we live with. And interestingly, that's something that we find most difficult to deal with. Often we see in our policies, women's reproductive role is prioritized over their productive role, and over what they can contribute as to the economy. And I think this is also evident with the maternal policy benefits, the maternity policy benefits that women receive. And therefore, we have seen how a lot of companies have now started to believe that investing in women will be a essential loss for them. And because women are going to take 6 months leave, how are we going to really manage that? And this is again driven by the social norms that we have, which essentially tells us that it's the woman's responsibility to manage a child and take care of the child, and childcare and care economy, which Mr. Srivastav referred to. is seen primarily driven by the women. I think these are some of the things that we need to really question, and we need to change some of these notions by also creating policies and infrastructure that can really support women through their maternity journey and through their journey of being a mother, but does not really deprioritize their role as a producer or as someone who wants to contribute to the economy. Similarly, I think there is also a very critical need for organizations to analyze the gender pay gaps that we get to see. Time and again, we have seen that women are not able to negotiate, or women are often disadvantaged when it comes to the kind of packages that they are provided as against their male colleagues. And this is something which we talk about transparency, we talk about ensuring that the gender pay gap is kind of reduced very, very significantly, and with a very clear objective of doing that, and not just by the by. There is also a need to, like I had said initially, that while we are working with women, we work with women to build their capacity. There is a need to work with men who work with these women, and also build women's capacity to take on leadership roles. Often we have seen how women form in terms of the entry point jobs, in terms of the middle management, women do fairly well, but then as the ladder becomes steeper, we see that women are the ones who tend to fall off that ladder, and they don't necessarily find roles of leadership to really move up the ladder within the organization. And these are some of the things that I would sincerely urge organizations to delve deeper into. And I think one issue that I would really point out before I close my conversation here is also the issue of sexual harassment. While most of the organizations, and we also have a legal framework for prevention of sexual harassment policy, we have seen that that the monitoring of a lot of these policies that are in place and bringing together the evidence to ensure that we are really moving on that path often is missing. When we talk about creating a safe space for women to be able to fulfill their potential, it becomes absolutely essential that we do not miss out on tools and data to really support and build a very evidence-based strategy for inclusion, equity, and diversity in our workforce. When we talk about inclusion and diversity, we also should not forget that there are intersections that women also have. So women are not just one big monolith block of population. Women come from various castes, various classes, with various kinds of education backgrounds. And I think it's important that we also create space for ensuring that those intersectionalities are taken care of when we are working with women very closely. I would just close it here by saying that congratulations to all of you for doing such wonderful work, and it's a great learning for us as well. Organizations like ours, Women Representing Research and Women, strive to work with the corporates to ensure that we help you build your evidence base and help you use tools and evidence to ensure that you continue to move and improve your metrics and move towards a more equitable society and not just a workforce. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prerna, for sharing your insights in the various challenges which are being faced by women in India. So again, I think so we've heard the experiences of all the winners, and therefore before we close, I would just kind of make a few concluding remarks. So first and foremost, I would like to thank Ashish Srivastava for sparing his time and being together with us, and also hearing the experiences of the various corporates who are present here. Again, if you look at with regards to gender diversity, a lot has been done, but as we've heard from most of the people, a lot more has to be done with regards to even gender diversity, and we're not talking about the other aspects of people with disability, HIV, transgender, LGBTQ. Again, what one has to understand, and this is what Mr. Dharial had mentioned, that with regards to people with disability and other inclusion, at times you may have to possibly reasonably accommodate them. Okay, so that is something which is very important. And partly, Srivastaji also spoke about the care economy, where women are devoting 5 to 7 hours per day with regards to home affairs. So that is something which needs to be taken into account with regards to reasonable accommodation. Another important thing which came up was with regards to what Sony Pictures spoke about, is that they're actually looking at content which does not promote stereotyping. So I think so that is something which is very important, because their content reaches to 700 million people. So I think, and again, Prerna spoke about the change, that they should not be, that women should not be only recognized for their reproduction capability, but also for their productivity. So in that case, till the time that change does not happen in our mindset, we need to acknowledge their contribution to the care economy and make sure that we give them the due weightage. So therefore, thanks again to everyone. Once again, congratulations to all the awardees, and thanks ASSOCHAM for giving us this opportunity and recognizing the champions of DNI. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vishalji. Thank you,
Thank you,
Rajivji.
Vishal.
Thank you, Additional Secretary Sir Ashish Srivastava Sir. Thank you, winners and also the participants. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you for getting me before time. Best wishes for the next year.
So right now,